listening out the windows here. It appears it's quiet again, Susan. Let me come over so that I can hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
John, apparently my colleague Patrick Greenlaw has a question for you. Patrick, go ahead.
John, I guess you've just answered the question then. In terms of intensity, even though you can't see because of the fog, in terms of intensity, this was nothing like what you went through last night then at the beginning stages.
I think it's probably exactly like the beginning stages of what we saw last night. I was catching the only hour's sleep I had in the past 2.5 days. At the beginning stages of this, Bernie Shaw was in here. He was about to interview, I believe, former Secretary of State George Shultz when all hell began to break loose here in Baghdad. Right now, it's calm again. I don't know what to say to you except to say that it's interesting to still see people on the streets. In fact, I saw a couple of people in, Arabic headdresses walking down the sidewalk. I can still see them. They're not even running. They're just walking slowly down the sidewalk to some location. My colleague Bernie Shaw, the man who was trying to get a little sleep, has just come running in the door.
I'll tell you, I'm afraid to go to sleep because, one, as a journalist, I don't want to miss anything, and two, I don't like trying to go to sleep where bombs are falling.
No kidding.
A couple bombs, obviously, were just dropped way off in the distance. And as I ran down the hall, John, I'll tell you what I think this is. I think this is an effort to test, to see what is still viable, what has survived, which batteries have survived. You'll notice that it came very quickly, and it ended very quickly.
And there's not a lot of anti-aircraft fire. There wasn't a lot of anti-aircraft fire during this raid. I'll tell you this, Bernie, while you were away, Charles Jaco in Saudi Arabia detected a group of F-15, I believe Charles said they were F-15s, taking off from his position. He could see them take off. Didn't know where they were going. It is possible that those planes which left about 40 minutes ago might be the very planes creating this increased level of tension in our broadcast booth.
I would surmise that those planes that took off, if they indeed were headed this way, they certainly have arrived at the destination. I'm sure you've reported on this, but isn't this eerie? I keep using that word, but that is a word that really goes to the heart of some of the impressions we were getting from here in Baghdad. To see traffic moving along, and I watched for the cars to pull off.
Yeah.
They did not pull off to the side of the road. When that wave went by, a wave of bombing went by, these cars, some of them sped up and they tried to get away.
I saw a couple of taxi cabs in reverse going about 30 miles an hour right down in front of us.
Did you see that one cab here that backed up?
No,
he backed up, and he backed up on the curb and was frantically turning around to get out of the way. But I just ran down the hall and I wanted to make sure we were all right and you're okay, and I'm going to walk back down the hall. And
lie down, Bernie. You're going to have to be standing here while I'm lying down in 4 or 6 hours. So you won't be able to sleep, but at least,
my problem is I can't turn off my mind, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to find a key.
Good luck, Bernie Shaw. Susan, Patrick, we're still here. Other questions for us?
Thank you, Bernie. John, have you heard anything from Iraqi officials? The last word you had, apparently officially, was word that Saddam Hussein was planning to go on Iraqi television. I assume that that is apparently canceled. But have Iraqi officials told you anything?
Well, we've heard a little bit from Iraqi officials, Susan. The phones which we thought were working here are not working. They rang once, each of them.
Well,
and okay, you might get a dial tone, Bernie, but try to dial for an outside line and see if you get one. That's the problem we've had.
Mark Viello, our chief cameraman here, he's our only cameraman here. He's the man who stayed up all during the night to
get the pictures.
We hope that we can get out of this country. We're trying, ladies and gentlemen around the world, we are trying desperately to get these pictures out. But right now, Mark is using gaffer's tape on the windows here, and I'm going to see if I can find a roll to use on my windows in my room.
Yeah, good idea, Bernie. But at any rate, I'll tell you what we know from Iraqi officials. They told CNN they came to visit us after a ride of, I guess, about a half a mile in which they were in some danger. They came to our location and said, CNN, we want you to be able to feed your pictures that you took last night, and we want you to come to Iraqi TV. They escorted us there, and when we got there, we began to attempt to feed the pictures, but it turns out that Iraqi television has no video, audio pathway to the outside world. The sound you hear, by the way, is Mark Biello ripping huge strips of tape off to put on our windows. It's okay, Mark. Our viewers want to know what you're doing. Want to know you're trying to keep us safe here in Baghdad. But at any rate, the officials may not know that the pictures that they are trying to transmit are not getting out. Our executive producer, Robert Wiener, is on his way to Iraqi television right now. In retrospect, I'm sort of sorry he went there to get our feed engineer, Nick Robertson, who was at the TV station, but now they're both away from this hotel, which is bad in an attack. We hope they'll be back soon and safe, and as soon as they are, we'll let you know. But at any rate, we're continuing to monitor the situation here. It appears very quiet now. If Bernie Shaw is... Wait a minute, I hear something. Let's see. I thought it might have been the sound of an airplane. It's not. It's the sound of a very large, very old delivery truck.
One other thing before I run back down the hall, John. I have counted only two military trucks in the last hour of watching things here. Maybe you've seen more.
No, there's not much activity by the military at all, at least in this part of Baghdad. I imagine the troops, if there are troops available to go, might have gone to the areas where the bombs struck in the early morning hours just to see what the damage is and try to repair it if they could.
We know from what was said by the Pentagon that the wave after wave of attack bombers came in to do specific targeting, command and control centers, anti-aircraft batteries. And as we look out over downtown Baghdad, we can report accurately that none of the shrines, none of the monuments so important and so dear to the Iraqi people, none has been touched.
That's right. About an hour ago, there was an interesting phenomenon coming from a building on the other side of our hotel, Bernie. It appeared that there was a huge smoke generator just filling the air around us with thick white smoke that looked much thicker than fog.
Well, it was comparable in a way to the fog we've seen over the past couple days. It is dissipated now, but there is a thick mist hanging over downtown Baghdad now as traffic continues to go on this main 8-lane boulevard before our eyes down there. And as I say, we can see intact all of the important shrines, the monuments, the buildings that are so important to Baghdad. This is a city unlike Jordan, where there's so much stone and very few trees and very little greenery. Baghdad is very green. I would say it borders on being lush in many ways. You look downstairs at the swimming pool here where we are, and you can count, I sense, more than 15 palm trees around the swimming pool. This is a green, lush city.
The difference is, I think, between Amman or Jordan and Baghdad, the Tigris River, which is a huge flowing river, and in Jordan, the Jordan River is just a tiny little trickle in many places, so there is more water available to provide all this greenery, and the Iraqi people, the Iraqi government has spent millions of dollars to make it look as nice as it does, and it appears from everything we can see that in the downtown area, it's going to look as nice as it does the rest of the day, just like it did yesterday. Let's go back to our colleagues maybe and see if they have other questions for us here. We'll come back inside now.
CNN's Wolf Blitzer. Thank you, John. We will be coming back to you